So, I feel like I haven't done a video in a while, but I think it's only been maybe about 1.5 weeks, or I can't remember. But, so it's Saturday, just woke up about an hour ago, and on Thursday and Friday, I taught my first few classes of the week. And I think I mentioned this before. I have two elementary schools, and I visit one school on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and I visit the other school on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And so Wednesday was September 1st, and that's when school starts. At least that's when school starts in Ono. So September 1st, that was the reopening ceremony, because in Japan, their school calendar is different. In America, we start school in late August or early September usually, and we finish the year in about May or June, depending on the school. But in Japan, the beginning of their year is in April, and then it ends. It goes year round, and then it ends in March. They do get a break. They get a summer vacation. That's their longest break, and I don't remember when it is. I think it's somewhere near the end of July and through August, and then they start back up in September. So I'm actually starting in the middle of their school year. So, um, so I they had a short opening ceremony at one of my elementary schools on the first, and so I introduced myself to all of the kids. And I have the two schools I have. One of them, Ichiba, that one has maybe about twice the amount of students that the other school, Kishi, has. So I was at Kishi on Wednesday, and they have a very, very small student body. Each grade has only one class, and it's about maybe on average about 30 students, maybe between 25 and 30 students on average for each class, except for I think it's fourth grade that has two classes, and it's very small. So I talked to them. I introduced myself first in English, and then I introduced myself in Japanese. And I didn't teach any classes because, I mean, the opening ceremony, I think they had a half a day, or they got out early. So, but at my other school, they, they had their opening ceremony that day, and since I wasn't there, I missed theirs, but I ended up starting classes Thursday, the next day when I got back there, and I started with the sixth graders. Those were my first two classes, and it was interesting. I was expecting these sixth graders, because they're the oldest ones there. I was expecting them to be a little more talkative, I guess, but they. I guess I should have expected they were pretty quiet. Some of them, were really active, and they liked to answer my questions, and they would know a lot of the answers. But it was fun. The first class they were kind of quiet. The second class they were a little bit more rambunctious, but I think they were very involved with the activity. I didn't. I was supposed to teach the fifth graders that day too on Thursdays, but the fifth grade teachers weren't ready for the English classes, so they told me that they were going to start next week, which was fine with me. So I had some extra planning time, that kind of thing. And yesterday, Friday, that that's probably going to be my busiest day, maybe, because I have five classes that day. I have the Ichiba has three elementaries, not three elementaries. They have three fourth grade classes, and they have two third grade classes, and so that's a lot of students to handle for one day. And the periods are first and second. Those are back to back, and then there's a little bit of a 20-minute break, and then third and fourth periods are also back to back, and then they have lunch break and recess, that kind of thing. And then there's fifth period. So I taught a fourth grade class and a third grade class for first and second period, and I was wondering a little bit how the fourth grade and third grade would be different from each other. Um, they weren't too different. They all knew all of the classes knew the sports cards pretty well. I showed them sports flashcards, and they would identify what sport it is. Um, I think the only difference would be the third graders are learning the phrase "Do you like?" And the fourth graders are learning what sport do you like. Um, so, but they all did pretty well. And the homeroom teachers were helpful too. It's interesting because each of the classes, the homeroom teachers have they seem to have different levels of involvement. Um, some of the teachers they stand by and watch, and maybe if no one understands, then maybe the teacher tries to explain, depending on how well they understand me, because the teachers don't speak that much English and they don't understand that much English either. But some of them they kind of stand by and try to translate when necessary. And other teachers, they get pretty involved, which makes me feel a lot better. One of my fourth grade classes, the teacher, he was really involved with the students. When I was reciting some of the sports, he was doing gestures, like baseball and that kind of thing. And that was a big help, because when I was showing the cards, I had to use both of my hands to show them the cards, and because I was holding the envelope and then I was pulling out the flashcard, and I can't do the gestures because my hands are full, but the teacher was helping. I also liked when the teachers would call on the students for me, because of course all of them they're familiar with the sports cards from previous years, so a lot of them already know, and they would just shoot their hands up, and it's hard for me to pick because I want to call on whoever raised their hand first, but it's hard to pick because so many kids raise their hands at the same time, and so sometimes I like to leave it up to the teacher to call on the students. So, I mean, because I don't want them to think that I'm giving them special treatment if I call on this student but not that student, that kind of thing. So, so I really like that.